This week on Traverse Talks, a candid cybersecurity briefing revealed just how close Grand Traverse County may be operating to serious financial and data exposure risk. From hundreds of thousands of emails moving through the system each month to employees clicking on phishing tests and resisting required training, the vulnerabilities aren't just technical, they're cultural. And perhaps most concerning, county leaders acknowledge that cybersecurity policies exist, but aren't consistently enforced. Let's listen to Jim Horn and the discussion at the County Board Study Session on February 11th, 2026.
Hey, folks. Jim Horn here with Traverse Talks, and I was listening into the Grand Traverse County Board Study Session on February 11th. It was at 9 a.m. with 400 boardmen, where it usually is. Anyway, I find out more sometimes in the study sessions than I do in the regular sessions. And this one was really no exception. And this is about a 5-minute, or the podcast is probably about maybe 5 to 8 minutes, a discussion about cybersecurity and how some employees and elected officials are really compromising it. So I'm going to, and really this is mostly Cliff Dupuy. He is the IT guy, and he's going to talk about some of the statistics and some of the issues he's faced with cybersecurity. You might remember in 2024, we had a heck of a hack on our security system. And according to Cliff, although it's not represented in this podcast, we're still facing some of those consequences. Anyway, I'm going to let you listen to Cliff as he starts out and begins to give us some statistics and, why he's talking about cybersecurity and also AI. Here we go.
Dupuy IT, appreciate your time today. Today I'm going to talk to you about the request or the need for a center of excellence for artificial intelligence. There's a lot going on right now in the world of AI. And so today, the summary, the big things to take away for today basically is to establish governance and to look at ensuring the acceptable use policy and data loss prevention policies are available, and drive innovation and to be candid with that, to be able to use it consciously and respectfully and within the boundaries of public sector government. So I'm just going to kind of walk through this. And so if you look at what the threat levels are based on the 2025-26, you can see the security crises that have arrived due to some of the breaches with AI. It was in the news actually this week too about the federal government's move to AI and some of the challenges that are experiencing when it impacts Social Security. So I'm not one to sit up here and read a presentation to you. I apologize for this. But the next slide I wanted to give you, I want to provide you data from the month of January.
Okay, so Cliff is going to give us some data on how many emails we get into the Grand Traverse County. And I want to, you should realize this is only for 1 month, the month of January. Here it is.
So if you go to the next screen, in the month of January, Grand Traverse County had 491,214,000 email messages. 491,214 that was sent, received, and in between the various departments. Out of that, we had 22,408 that were stopped at the perimeter. So what that means is that's the number of emails that were determined to have malicious payloads that were blocked by our on the perimeter, so that it doesn't never make it into the network. So we're at about a 98% rate on protecting our network. And this all goes back to this board was very gracious to us and gave us a lot of tools after after the 2024 event that we experienced, the cybersecurity event. And we're really grateful for that. The challenge we're faced with at number 442, after the event, we began to classify data. So what we do when we classify data is we look at if an email or a document contains what we consider to be PII, personal identifiable information. Personal identifiable information will have my name, birth date, driver's license number, social security number, something that can tie directly to me. Now, there is directory information, Cliff Dupuy, my address, that is not PII. But once you start tying in a passport number, social security number, or driver's license, that makes it PII, personal identifiable information.
So what Cliff is talking about here is the 442 that they're looking at, and that's not just external data. That's data going out. In other words, an employee or an elected official is sending data out that contains personal information. And the worst personal information that could go out is the HIPAA. So let's listen to Cliff on that topic.
The worst one of that three is the HIPAA violations. HIPAA violations is actually where you have a diagnosis from a medical professional. So that might say Cliff has diabetes. This is what we need to do for treatment. So what we began to do after our event in the 2024 is we would classify those documents or those emails. Those individuals will then get a message will pop up and say, hey, it looks like you're getting ready to save a file or send a file that has PII, PHI, or HIPAA. Are you sure you want to do that?
Okay, so this is one of our employees or elected officials. As Cliff said, I want to reinforce this. It pops up on that particular person's computer. Are you sure you want to send this data?
Yes or no. If you hit yes, we're all done.
Okay, so we're gonna talk, and this is I can't believe that some of these people are not taking the cybersecurity program to find out more about it and how to make sure you stay away from these threats. But anyway, here we go.
So the part that's kind of concerning here is there was 143 emails that were sent that had that federally protected data that were not encrypted.
Okay. So that's the real problem. I mean, if an employee or an elected official sends out the encrypted data, there's serious consequences about that. And here is Commissioner Andrews. She's asking a question about why everyone refuses to take the security training. Here we go.
I think you mentioned that not everybody has taken the security training. I think you mentioned that was not met with welcome arms. Can you elaborate on that? Why can't we mandate everyone take basic security training?
Ms. Andrews, from your lips to God's ears, it would be so helpful. The challenge we have is we try to, every October, we have cybersecurity training. We give people 30 days to complete that training. We have people that do not complete that training. We just recently did a phishing exercise during Christmas. We had a 14.3% failure rate.
Okay, so that's high, 14.3% on the phishing. And phishing is spelled PHISHING. And that's a test to see if the employees will entrap themselves into some kind of cybersecurity event. Here's more on the remedial training. I have to laugh at that word.
72 employees clicked on the link. I assigned them remedial training. It was met with so much pushback, I just finally gave up and passed everybody. We had people arguing that, no, I didn't click on it. It's all documented. And so, and the training was 15 minutes. And so the challenge we have, to be candid with you, is we have department heads and elected officials in different departments that will reach out to elected officials and call Mr. Alger and complain what a bad person I am and impugn my reputation and my experience and say that I'm just being obstructionist, can't give them what they want. And so then I have to kind of acquiesce and do what I'm told to do.
Okay, so I want you to go back and remember that he is talking about 15 minutes. Cliff is talking about 15 minutes of remedial training, and they don't want to do that. But what's the cost of not taking that remedial training and you commit a HIPAA violation? Let's listen to Cliff.
These are some of the financial implications to what we're seeing that's happening on the network. Each HIPAA violation is anywhere between $100,000 and $50,000. PCI is a $1,000 fine, and we could use the ability to take credit cards. So we're looking at, with just in January alone, that again, these are just January numbers, a fine of anywhere from $44 to $22.1 million that we are at risk for. I think it's important.
So there you have it, folks. Some of the employees, some of the elected officials won't bother to take a 15-minute remedial training. However, according to Cliff, it exposes us up to $22.1 million in fines. That's crazy. To me, the county's got to find some way to get those people on the ship and start taking this cybersecurity training. Anyway, hey, this is Jim Horn. This is Travers Talks. Have yourself one great week.